Have you ever wondered why you are so afraid of being alone? Think about it. We spend our lives surrounded by people glued to our cell phones, with the TV in the background, all to avoid that silence that terrifies us. But what if I told you that the loneliness that you fear so much is in reality, your best opportunity is that in those moments alone is where you really find yourself. It sounds crazy, right? Look at yourself there, fleeing from loneliness as if it were a plague, jumping from one toxic relationship to another, filling every second with noise, with people, with any misery. That distracts you from being with yourself, and why? To continue being the one who doesn't dare to look in the mirror. Look, I understand you. I know what it feels like to be truly alone, that emptiness that seems to absorb everything, that feeling that the world keeps turning and you're standing there, caught in the eye of a silent hurricane. It's like the entire universe conspires to make you feel small, insignificant. But you know there's a raw beauty in loneliness, something that only those who have experienced it can understand. We've truly been made to believe that being alone is the worst thing that can happen. It happens that if you don't have a partner, you are a failure. That if you don't go out every weekend to party with your colleagues, you are a weirdo, and a colleague is a great one. Think about it when you are surrounded by people. How many times have you stopped to really think about who you are? What do you want from true? Probably few, because we are so busy trying to fit in and like being accepted that we forget the most important thing ourselves. Solitude makes you strong. It teaches you to stand up for yourself and not depend on anyone to be happy. And that, my friend, is freedom. Mother Liberty in its purest form, because when you learn to be good with yourself, you no longer need anyone's approval. You don't worry about what others think. But be careful. This is not going to turn you into an antisocial hermit. No, you are not going to find the balance of knowing how to enjoy the company. Yes, but also to value those moments of loneliness, of not being afraid of being alone on a Friday night, of not feeling like one. And you have no plans for the end of. And let's be honest, how many times have you met up with people just because you weren't alone? How many times, you have gotten into single relationships for fear of loneliness? I'm sure, and that, my friend, is screwing you alive. It's wasting the time that you could be investing in yourself. Think about this in a world where everyone is constantly connected, where social networks dictate who we are and what we should be. Loneliness can be a refuge, a sanctuary, is a space where you can be yourself without filters, without masks. You don't have to please anyone. You don't have to fit into any mold. It's just you with your thoughts, your dreams, your fears. In loneliness, you can find yourself really know. Sometimes loneliness hurts. I know, it's a double-edged sword. But that same sword can be a powerful tool. It can cut the chains that bind you to foreign expectations. Toxic relationships, unfounded fears, loneliness can free you. It gives you the opportunity to hear your own voice. The one that often drowned in the noise of everyday life, that voice that knows what you really want, what you really need. Let me be brutally honest, embracing your loneliness does not mean resigning yourself to being alone forever. It is not an act of desperation, but of courage. It's a cry of independence, a statement that you can be alone and still be complete, because being alone is not the same as feeling alone. You can be surrounded by people and feel lonelier than ever. And you can also be alone and feel at peace and harmony with yourself. Think about those moments when you are alone, you feel fear, anxiety. It is okay to feel that, is natural, but you can also feel freedom, authenticity in those moments. You can be creative, explore your passions, rediscover your interests. Loneliness is a blank canvas, an opportunity to paint your own story without the influence of others. In loneliness, you can cry without anyone judges you. You can laugh without anyone looking at you strangely. You can be vulnerable, show your wounds, and in that vulnerability, find your strength. Because true strength does not come from the absence of fear, but from facing it and embracing it. And loneliness gives you that opportunity again and again. Maybe I'm not telling you to go to a cabin in the woods, although it could be a good idea. What I want to say is that sometimes we need that space, that time to be alone, to face ourselves. Loneliness is not an enemy, it's an ally. If we know how to use it, it is easy to see loneliness as something negative, something that we must avoid at all costs. But what if we look at it from another perspective, and if we see it as an opportunity to grow, To help to transform ourselves, loneliness can be a relentless teacher, but it can also be the wisest in those moments of loneliness. We can reflect on our lives or decisions, we can analyze our mistakes, and forgive ourselves. We can plan our future, dream big. Loneliness gives us the space to be introspective, to get know ourselves on a deeper level. There is a quote that I love by Jean-Paul Sartre: Rafi, you are alone when you are alone. You are alone in bad company. This phrase may sound harsh, but it has a deep truth. If you can't stand being with yourself, how you expect others to do? Loneliness teaches you to love yourself, to be your best company. And when you achieve that, you become a better person, complete, happier. So the next time you feel alone, do not see it as something negative. Embrace it, accept loneliness as part of your journey, as a necessary stage for your personal growth. Allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to be vulnerable, because in that vulnerability you will find your true strength. The solitude can also be a source of creativity. Many of the great artists, writers, and thinkers have found their inspiration in moments of solitude. It is in those moments of silence, of introspection, where the most brilliant ideas are born. Solitude gives you the freedom to explore your mind and dream without limits. Think of Vincent van Gogh, a man who spent much of his life in soledad, fighting his inner demons. However, it was in that solitude where he created his most iconic works, where he found his artistic voice. Or think of Emily Dickinson, who lived a secluded life, but whose poems burled. They have touched the hearts of millions. Loneliness did not destroy them. It made them stronger, more creative. Of course, not all of us are artists, but creativity is not limited to art. Creativity can manifest itself in any aspect of your life, in your work, in your relationships, in your hobbies. Solitude gives you the space to explore that creativity, to find new ways of doing things, to see the world. Solitude also teaches you to appreciate the company of others. When you spend time alone, you learn to value moments more. You become more selective with the people you meet. You let into your life more consciously from the quality of your relationships. You learn to recognize who your true friends are, who really support you and understand you. And let's not forget self-care and solitude. You can dedicate time to take care of yourself, to do things that make you happy, that relax you. You can meditate, read, exercise, cook a delicious meal, take a hot bath. You can pamper yourself because you deserve it. Solitude gives you the time and space to do all this without feeling guilty, without external pressures. So friend, don't be afraid of loneliness, embrace it. Make use it as a tool to know yourself better, to grow. To hell, loneliness, it can be your best friend if you give it the opportunity. It can be the beginning of an incredible journey, a journey inside you towards your true self. Remember, being alone is not being abandoned. Being alone is be with yourself. And if you can learn to enjoy your own company, if you can learn to love yourself, you will be ready to face anything. Loneliness gives you that strength, that resilience, prepares you for life, for its ups and downs, for its challenges. And if ever you feel overwhelmed by loneliness, remember that you are not alone. Well, go through this, face these moments, and it is in those moments of loneliness where we find our true strength, where we discover who we all are.